Financial instability is not just a money issue. For a lot of people, it becomes a body issue. That is what I want to talk about in this episode. Because when people talk about financial stress, they often talk about numbers, bills, income, debt, uncertainty, or the future. And yes, all of that matters. But underneath those things, there is often something deeper happening. The body starts reading financial instability as danger. And once that happens, the experience becomes bigger than budgeting, bigger than logic, and bigger than strategy alone. It starts becoming emotional, physical, somatic. It can show up like tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach, a pressure in the body that never really goes away. It can show up as shallow breathing, restlessness, a sense of urgency that follows you even when nothing is happening in the moment. It can make the body feel like something is always about to go wrong. And when that happens, financial instability is no longer just a practical concern. It becomes a state of fear, a state of vigilance, a state where safety feels uncertain. That is why the fear of financial instability can affect so much more than money itself. It can affect how a person thinks, how they decide, how they relate to risk, how they show up in relationships, how they sleep, how they work, how they react when something small happens that confirms the fear already living in the body. Because once the nervous system starts linking money with danger, even small things can feel much bigger than they are. A bill can feel like a threat. A delayed payment can feel like collapse. A slow month can feel like proof that everything is falling apart. An unexpected expense can feel like the body's worst fear becoming real. And this is where so many people misunderstand themselves. They think they're just overthinking. They think they are being dramatic. They think they need to calm down, be stronger, or stop worrying so much. But what if the body is reacting the way it does because instability has come to mean danger? What if the fear is not just in the thoughts? What if the body is carrying it too? That changes everything. Because when fear of financial instability moves into the body, it can create patterns that are easy to judge but harder to understand. Some people start panicking. Some start freezing. Some become obsessive. Some avoid looking at their numbers completely. Some overwork. Some shut down. Some stay trapped in constant urgency. Some make impulsive decisions because the body wants relief right now. Some become unable to rest because resting feels unsafe when survival feels uncertain. Some become emotionally reactive, irritable, withdrawn, or hopeless. And from the outside, it can all look different. But underneath many of these reactions is the same thing. The body does not feel safe. That is why financial instability is not only about lack. It is also about what instability does to the nervous system. It can create hypervigilance. It can create shame. It can create panic around the future. It can create a deep internal message that says, I'm not safe. I cannot relax. I cannot trust. I cannot stop. And when the body starts living inside that message, life becomes heavy in a very specific way. Even small choices start carrying emotional weight. Even simple decisions can feel loaded. Even moments that should feel neutral can feel tense. Because fear is not only showing up when a money problem appears. It is showing up before, during, and after. It is living in anticipation. And anticipation can be exhausting. One of the hardest parts of financial instability is that it can make the future feel dangerous before it even arrives. The mind starts trying to predict. The body starts bracing. The nervous system starts preparing for loss, lack, disappointment, or collapse. And this can create a cycle. The fear creates tension. The tension creates urgency. The urgency affects decisions. The decisions can create more instability. And the body learns to stay on alert. That is why this kind of fear can be so hard to explain. Because sometimes people are not only afraid of money, they are afraid of what instability means. Loss of control, loss of dignity, loss of security, loss of freedom, loss of identity, loss of the future they were trying to hold together. And once those deeper layers get activated, the fear can start touching shame too. Shame for not being further ahead. Shame for struggling. Shame for not feeling in control. Shame for not being able to relax. Shame for reacting so strongly. And shame makes the fear heavier. Because now it is not only, I feel unstable. It becomes, something is wrong with me because I feel unstable. That can make people hide, withdraw, avoid asking for help, pretend they are okay when they are not, push themselves harder than their body can handle, or become numb because feeling it all is too much. That is why I think this conversation matters. Because if we only talk about financial instability like it is a mindset issue, we miss the body. And if we miss the body, we miss a huge part of what people are actually living through. The body can tell the truth before the mind has words for it. It can tell you that fear is here, that bracing is here, that shame is here, that survival mode is here. And if you learn to notice that, you stop treating your reactions like random weakness. You start seeing them as signals. Signals that the system does not feel safe. That does not mean the fear is irrational. And it does not mean practical action does not matter. It does. Sometimes money fear needs real structure, real planning, real support, real decisions. But the body still matters, because if the body is overwhelmed, even good decisions become harder to access. That is why one of the most important shifts is this. Do not only ask, what is happening financially? Also ask, what is happening in my body because of this? Is your chest tight? Is your stomach in knots? Are you breathing shallow? Are you restless? Are you obsessively checking? Are you avoiding everything? Are you snapping at people? Are you spiraling at night? Are you unable to settle, even when there is nothing immediate to solve? Those are not small things. Those are signals. And when you start noticing them, you can begin responding differently. Not just with pressure, not just with self-judgment, but with regulation and clarity. Maybe the first step is to pause. Maybe the first step is to breathe. Maybe the first step is to calm the circuit before making another fear-based decision. Maybe the first step is to stop asking the body to solve danger by staying activated forever. Because chronic activation is not the same thing as control. And constant fear is not the same thing as preparedness. Sometimes the body needs a different signal. Not that everything is perfect. Not that the uncertainty is gone, but that you can create a little more safety inside the moment you are in. That matters, because when the body softens even a little, you can think more clearly. You can see more honestly. You can respond with less panic. You can separate what is real from what fear is amplifying. And that is an important distinction. Financial instability is real, but fear can make it feel even bigger, even more total, even more catastrophic in the body. That is why emotional awareness matters here. Not to deny the problem, but to stop the fear from becoming the only voice in the room. So if financial instability has been living not only in your thoughts, but in your body, you are not weak. If your body has been bracing, tightening, spiraling, or shutting down, you are not weak. If money stress has become emotional, physical, and exhausting, you are not weak. Your system may be responding to instability like danger. And once you understand that, the next step is not shame. It is awareness, regulation, support, and then action from a clearer place. Not because fear disappears overnight, but because you begin to understand what it is doing inside you. And that understanding matters. Because sometimes a shift begins when you stop asking, Why am I reacting like this? And start asking, what is this fear touching in my body? What is it making me believe? What is it making me brace for? And what would it look like to bring a little more safety into this moment, even before the outer situation is fully solved? That is not denial. That is nervous system wisdom. That is emotional honesty. And for many people, that is where the deeper work begins. If this episode spoke to something real in you, stay with the work. There's more depth here than money alone. And if you need support beyond the episode, start with calming the body first. Then move toward the next clear step. See you in the next episode.